Okay, so we are going to continue with conjugate of a complex numbers. Now, what do we mean by the conjugate of a complex number? First of all, if we have a complex number, if we have a complex number which is equal to x plus iy, okay? Now, the conjugate of this complex number is going to be written as z bar. There's going to be a bar up there. And what is the conjugate? The conjugate simply means that the sign in front of the imaginary part will change. So if you have x plus iy, the conjugate of x plus iy will become x minus iy. Okay, so if let's say we have z to be equal to 4 plus 5i, and I want to find the conjugate of z, it is going to be equal to 4 minus 5i. So the sign in front of the imaginary part will change. Let's see another example. We have z to be equal to minus 2 minus 3i. It means that the conjugate of z, the conjugate now, minus 2 minus 3, the sign in front of 3i, which is the imaginary part, will change. So I'm going to get minus 2 plus 3i. This is awesome. Okay? So that leads us to a statement here that the product of a complex number and its conjugate is the sum of two squares. I'm going to explain that. Let's say you have x plus iy as a complex number multiplied by its conjugate, which is x minus iy. Please look at this clearly. Now, you see x times x here will give us x squared. Okay, x times minus iy will give us minus ixy. Okay, iy times x will give us plus ixy. Okay, then iy times minus iy will give us minus I squared y squared. Okay. Now you can see that minus ixy will cancel minus ixy. So we are going to left with x squared minus I squared y squared. Remember that I squared is minus 1. So that minus 1 makes this sign to be plus. So we are now going to get x squared plus y squared. So whenever you multiply a complex number with its conjugate, you are going to get sum of two squares. Okay? Now, let me give more examples here. Let's say you have 4 minus 3i. What is the conjugate of 4 minus 3i? It is 4 plus 3i. So instead of opening up the bracket, I already know that when you multiply a complex number with its conjugate, I will get the sum of the two squares. So instead of opening the bracket, I know that my answer will simply be 4 squared plus 3 squared without thinking twice. Once I see a number, a complex number multiplying its conjugate, okay, 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, so that will give us 16 plus 9 is 25. So the answer to that is 25. Let's see another example. Let's say we have 1 plus I. What is the conjugate of 1 plus I? Your guess is as mine is 1 minus I. Okay, so how do we open this bracket? Remember, when you multiply a complex number with its conjugate, you're going to get sum of two squares. Okay, so that means this is going to give us 1 squared plus 1 squared, because the coefficient of I here, the number, the imaginary part is 1. So 1 squared is 1, 1 squared is 1, so that gives us 2. That makes sense, right? Okay, so try these ones. Try these ones. Look at these questions and try them. I'm not going to do anything about them, so I want to see you give me an intelligent answer. So once I see the first 3 persons give me the answer correctly, we can continue to the next class.